In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly
and Andrew Fiore.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody out there in the world, in the quarantined world, all the defenders tucked away in their houses and sleeping tight in their skivvies. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Welcome to another edition of your favorite podcast, Defend Your Movie, ladies and gentlemen. I am one of your hosts. I am joined here by the very amazing co-host of the show, Andrew Fiore, everybody.
Oh, thank you, Shawnee. Nice words from my fair-weathered friend over there. Not fair-weathered, fair-skinned.
Fair-skinned.
Very different things.
Yeah, I'm both. I get very sensitive and I get a sunburn very easily.
Yeah, same here. Is your mind going to mush yet in the quarantine? I dip in and out of consciousness.
I have my moments.
My brain doesn't connect words together. I'll combine two words and it'll come out as one mishmash. It's really not good. I need to be out and about.
Yeah, I stepped out of my house before to take a walk around the block, and I didn't even realize that I was singing Danny Boy, like some weird old Irish man at a wake, and I was just singing at the top of my lungs because I was like so excited to be out in fresh air. And I was just like belting it out in the middle of Queens, which is just
That's great.
And I had no, and then what only made me stop is I knew I was singing at this point. Some girl rode by on one of those Revel scooters and she was singing full blast. And I was like, what a weirdo. And I just stopped singing.
All normalcy is tossed out the window. I mean, and I'm fine with it.
I'm totally cool with it. It's fun. It's fun to watch because it makes walking down the street more interesting if you see these wackadoos that are coming at you, including myself,
Absolutely. So we hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there. And I don't think we've mentioned this yet, but we should. We have a lot of friends who are working in the healthcare industry, putting their lives on the line to keep us safe. So just a big Defend Your Movie thank you from us to them.
Yes, absolutely. And we know people who have been affected by it either through family members or themselves, and we wish them like the best and to recover fast.
Happy and healthy.
We can see them happy and healthy.
Yeah.
Because this thing is like knocking people on their asses, and I'm just hoping the good news, I guess, this week was that it seems to be the curve seems to be flattening sooner than they thought, and it's things are going. But that doesn't change that we still have to do our due diligence to get this thing.
Got to keep
over.
It up. Here's the thing. I'm all for the 7 o'clock applause and make noise for your healthcare workers, but there's a few people in my neighborhood I think are like the attention for themselves a little bit more than actually.
Well, you're gonna have that, yeah. Why? What do they go above and beyond or something? What do they do?
He's got a cowbell, and she's that one. She's like that one person. Like, have you ever watched a baseball game and it's the playoffs, and you have that one guy? He stands up. And then he's bringing his arms like, yo, everybody else get up. Come on. Make some noise. It's like, we're all going to make noise, guy. We know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got one lady like that.
She's basically, is she Will Ferrell from the Cowbell sketch?
Yeah, she's got a cowbell.
You just told me that. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
You said cowbell. So I was like, oh, she's annoying everybody with her cowbell.
Yeah, exactly. But not to take anything, not to make light of it, but, we do appreciate it. But, there are obviously always going to be those types of people.
Well, you're going to get that everywhere because even if one of the best bits ever, and it's almost not even a bit, it's just a public service announcement, is the Anthony Jeselnik's Thoughts and Prayers bit.
Yes.
The Thoughts and Prayers bit is unbelievable because it's so dead on true.
Yep.
Because he goes, what you're saying with your thoughts, he goes, you know what your thoughts and prayers mean? Fuck all. They mean nothing. Yeah. And he goes, you know what you're saying with that? You're saying, remember me. Don't forget about me. I'm here too. And so the people just take that. And don't get me wrong. I think 99% of the people have the best intentions. I do.
Yeah,
but you're going to get people like you just mentioned.
But also, it doesn't. You don't need your friend taping you applauding the healthcare workers to put it on your Instagram story. You know what I mean?
Yes, right. Unless it'll but then you could argue the fact, well, it'll make more people do it, and that helps the cause. And
not the ones I'm looking at.
Yeah. Well, do you want to tell everybody what we're doing today, or you want to talk about what you watched, or what do you want to do?
I didn't really watch too many new movies, so we might as well jump right into it. We have the bonus episode, Tuesday bonus episode here. We're going back to the lovely time in America, the 1950s. And we figured since everybody is hopefully staying at home in the quarantine, we would do movies that primarily took place in one room. So we have
movies that had basically a quarantine going on.
Yeah, quarantine, essentially. We have 1957, Sidney Lumet directed 12 Angry Men against the 1954 Alfred Hitchcock classic Rear Window. Big matchup of the 50s today.
I'll be honest, when you proposed the matchup, I go, oh, it's a good one. But then I thought Andy's out of his mind a little bit because I was like, Rear Window is going to knock this out of the water because I've talked about it on the podcast before. It's my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's a brilliant suspense-filled. Like I said, to this day, I rewatched it recently when I bought it on iTunes, and I got scared now. And granted, we all know that I'm a wimp with that stuff, but still, it's still a freaky movie. But I started rewatching. Full disclosure, I did not finish the whole thing, but I've seen 12 Angry Men a couple of times, and I'll tell you, man, both movies. You think about how hard that is to do, but 12 Angry Men brought me right in. Because it's one of those things where I was like, will it hold up? Will I be annoyed that it's from the 50s? But I usually don't get annoyed with movies. But that movie's I'll give it to you like that because you're taking 12 Angry Men.
Right, I'm siding in the 12 Angry Men.
But I was like, I'm so scatterbrained from the freaking quarantine. Am I going to be able to sit there and watch 12 Angry Men? And I got right into it. I don't know what it is about that movie, but right away it brings you into it. It's like Rear Window. Rear Window's kind of the same way. Where I
was going to say that. You got both movies there. You figure, I remember the first time I saw 12 Angry Men, I go, it takes place in one room that can't last for an hour and a half. Yeah. And it's not edge of your seat thriller. It's just captivating in the acting and the dialogue. And that's why when you have a director who's got such a steady hand like Sidney Lumet, who gets the performances out of his actors like that, you don't need all the flash and fireworks of you can just have a movie be in one location and still be one of the greatest movies of all time because it's so the dialogue is so captivating. And the way the actors singularize, if I can say that word, their own individual personalities, and they make each juror so different, it's amazing to me. I'm really in awe of the whole movie.
That
was very rambling. I apologize.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. So what you're saying, that's okay. So let's even before which ones that we prefer, because at the end of the day, I prefer Rear Window still, but I love 12 Angry Men. And here's the thing.
Same with me, exact opposite.
Let's think about how hard of a task it is to make a movie like this that's based in one location. And you only find out about the ones that make it, the ones that are ones that are successes, because nobody wants to watch a shitty movie that takes place in one location. Right. And I would say besides this one, we could have added these into the mix. The Reservoir Dogs.
Yep.
We can throw, but I want to do Reservoir Dogs and something else. But did I ever talk about on the podcast my idea? I want to write a movie script that there's a chase scene in the movie and a bunch of warehouses, and by accident one of the characters runs into Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, that's so great!
But I never did it. Anyway, so that's a
great idea, though.
Yeah, and then also you could say Clue. Clue, the movie is, even though that bombed, Clue's a really funny movie, and it keeps you interested from the beginning. Now, but what we're talking with Rear Window and with 12 Angry Men is like you're upping the the prestige factor on these movies. And you're right, when you're doing a movie, like if I had to guess, if you're a director directing, you want to talk about like earning your keep. like if you're directing a movie that takes place in one location, you better know what the fuck you're doing. Like then
Yeah.
that's what. And then both of these movies, like you said, Sidney Lumet and Hitchcock, and Hitchcock even more in my brain because I talked about it before when I mentioned Rear Window. He before he even started, he had every shot mapped out, not just storyboarded. He had
Yep.
every single shot mapped out. And for a
Same
movie like
thing with
this,
Lumet.
did he really?
Lumet was a big guy on rehearsing, having everything ready, and all his actors go, yeah, he doesn't waste a minute when we actually start shooting. Nothing is wasted. He knows exactly what he's doing. And all great directors, you come in prepared, man. You do your homework and you come in prepared. That's why these guys are legends.
Yeah, because think about that. Like, I think you could put it up. There's a lot of directors that we enjoy that doing a movie in one location for them, I think would be a hard task.
Yeah.
I can't think of any. None come to my brain right now.
Well, it's easy to fall back on exposition and cinematography a lot of times. You
right,
know?
and like that, and I guess that's almost like because the muscle of doing a movie like this, it goes against almost like the credo of movie making, where it's like you want those rolling hill shots and cinematography obviously can be done anywhere. But you're right. But I think a cinematographer, they want those landscapes, they want those giant, like where you're taking in, like you feel like you're there.
Absolutely.
But that can be done in a movie like this. And
sure.
and
I love a great movie soundtrack. I love when the perfect song is paired up with a scene and you maybe get a break from the dialogue for a minute and a half and you let the actors just kind of do their thing to the music. None of that in these two movies. There is not a second wasted with songs or soundtracks. This gets right to the nitty gritty.
Rear Window has silence, but the silence adds to the suspense.
Yes.
And Rear Window, and you want to talk about feeling like you're there, you're looking out at certain shots of the movie, you're looking out his window. You're watching the action unfold as you're looking out his window, and you're getting as anxiety filled as you would if you were there.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week when Nolan does that in Dark Knight, when he cuts all the sound out and the drops, and it's just Joker in the back of the cop car. It's a brilliant, it catches you.
Yeah, because it almost makes you feel like you're not hearing for a second. Like it throws off your your equilibrium or something like that. But when it comes to now, I'm going to defend Rear Window. Rear Window to me is.
Right, sir.
I think it probably did better. 12 Angry Men, did it win Best Picture? It did, didn't it?
It did not. It was up for Best Picture. It was up for Best Director, and it was up for Best Adapted Screenplay, and it lost all three to Bridge Over the River Kwai.
Oh, wow.
I'll be honest, I've never even seen.
I've never even seen it. I have no interest in seeing that movie. And then
Rear Window, be good.
I don't think Rear Window did not win either.
I don't think it did either. I think it was also up for Best Picture. But I don't know the awards that year.
So I think the reason why Rear Window kind of puts it over the top for me is because of the suspense factor and how hard that is to do. And just stylistically, Hitchcock I like better than Lumet. So and also with how hard it is to pull off something that like that, because you really think about it, the more I know I mentioned the silence before. But there's dialogue in Rear Window, but a lot of it is you watching just watching a window.
Yeah. Well,
and a lot of it is just it's almost like a third of the movie is a silent movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole movie is essentially about voyeurism, and it makes you a voyeur in itself. You know what I mean? It makes the audience the same way.
Yeah.
It also was up for
right
director, screenplay, cinematography, and sound, and also did not
win, which is shocking to me because I think it's the best Hitchcock movie. I don't know what it lost to. It might have been something big, but to me, I get the most guttural reaction out of Rear Window.
Yeah, I love Hitchcock films. I love North by Northwest is one of my favorite ones.
It's great.
But to me, I love Sidney Lumet films more. I'm not taking anything away from Hitchcock. He's just one of my guys. I've said on this podcast so many times, Network is in my top 5 movies of all time. Yeah. Dog Day Afternoon, 12 Angry Men, obviously, that we're talking about right now. Also, The Verdict, Serpico. I mean, Lumet is one of my guys. Like, he's one of my guys. He had one of the runs in the 70s like I've never seen before.
Well, that's also...
And Hitchcock was like that, too, but I just prefer Lumet. His style, his grittiness. But, Hitchcock was more... I'll give it to Hitchcock. He was a more groundbreaking director. Hitchcock
Yes.
brought things to the table nobody had ever seen before.
Yeah.
Style,
Well,
shots, the way shots were done, like that.
even
Vertigo,
that the sound thing we
classic
just
Vertigo
mentioned.
shot. Yeah.
The sound thing we just mentioned is
Yep.
a lot of that comes from Frenzy. That I think I mentioned it before.
Right, right.
Which I've only seen once in film class, was the shot. The girl's getting murdered in the apartment, and they back out, and then you have silence, and then it's back out to street noise. So he would play with the sound a lot in other ways as well, besides just taking it out. The whole idea of what you can hear when, and almost making it feel more realistic that way.
Yeah, Hitchcock was really good with the silence, man. I mean, when what's her name's walking through, when she's trying to step quietly over the birds, I can't think of her name right now.
Tibby Hedren? No, Tibby.
Tibby Hedren.
Yeah.
And I mean that it's just eerily quiet, and you're just going, what's gonna happen? I hope the birds don't get her. You know?
Yeah.
And it's
that's
such a silly little concept. You're like, yeah, it's just birds, but it's terrifying.
Yeah, and you wonder this when you get to a certain point. It's like, what are these guys doing that makes me care? Because think about it, you've seen other movies that have the same type of setup, same situation, and you're like, I just don't care as much. Like it really lends itself to amazing filmmaking, because you're going, oh, you have me in, you got me in with this character. I want to see them do well. I want to see them beat this whole thing. It happens in Rear Window as far as like him getting away with being the voyeur. He's technically, because it almost starts with that idea that in Rear Window that he's technically wrong for what he's doing right away, but you're on his side right away. Like when you realize what he's doing, and you're on his side right away because you see what's going on and what he's trying to help. But just him being the voyeur is like, oh, well, technically you're peeping Tom, and that's weird, and whatever it is. So you kind of like they bring you in with that. It makes you feel like you're in the room.
Absolutely. Speaking of bringing you in, let's talk about the casts. This one's kind of an unfair one because you have such a huge ensemble. It's obviously 12 people versus the, 6 total people maybe in Rear Window.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an unfair advantage, but you do have some of the most iconic actors of all time in 12 Angry Men. You got Henry Fonda, Lee J. Cobb, Martin Balsam, who a lot of people don't recognize, but is so great in everything he does. He was great in like Twilight Zones. He just got Jack Klugman, Ed Begley Sr., Jack Gordon.
Jack Klugman playing, most people know him from Odd Couple, playing the most understated Jack Klugman probably ever in his career.
Yeah.
What a sensitive character for Jack Klugman.
Yeah. No, it's a great cast, great ensemble. It's probably, maybe, it's got to be in the top 1 or 3 ensemble casts of all time. I would put Reservoir Dogs up there as well. I know that's kind of a weird comparison, but if you're talking great ensemble casts that work perfectly together, 12 Angry Men is right up there for me.
Would you put Magnolia up there?
I would.
Boogie Nights?
I would put Magnolia ahead of Boogie Nights.
So would I.
Because Boogie Nights is more Dirk's story. Magnolia, it's everybody's story, which is, kind of the point of the movie. But that might be a podcast for a future date. Best ensemble. Did we do this already?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did ensemble cast. But
we
that's
forget. The minute we say goodbye, we forget every episode.
One ear and out the other.
But when it comes to Rear Window cast, you got the 2 biggies. You got Jimmy Stewart. You got Grace Kelly. It's like it's just
Raymond Burr.
It's Raymond Burr. It's just iconic. And that's like, to me, that's more, I think when you have 12 Angry Men, you had a lot of character guys.
Almost all character guys.
Rear Window, almost all character guys, which I love because I believe the characters
superstars.
More. Yes, they're absolutely iconic Hollywood legends is what I would say. One of them is a princess, and she died. She died. And she has that same thing, like almost like that Sharon Tate thing of like never lived up to her potential kind of, because unfortunately, she died too soon. And then Raymond Burr, who plays a terrifying bad guy.
Thorwald.
And I'll tell you, did I ever tell you you ever hear the story about, apparently what the deal with Raymond Burr was? Raymond Burr was I believe he was a gay gentleman. Uh-huh. And everything he did, he was very like stoic and where were you? Like, he did Perry Mason and he did this and he was very, where were you on the night of 15th? And he was whatever. And apparently, the minute he would yell cut, he would go, "Okay, everybody, that's lunch." He was a very flamboyant guy. So I think that's amazing that he was able to
Take 5, everyone.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. It's like that's so funny and so great that he was like, I'm able to put on it's almost like his impression of like a straight dude, like, hey, whatever it is, like this is how these assholes act,
Yeah. It's always funny. Whenever I see like those young pictures of Raymond Burr, I immediately think of Brad Garrett.
Oh, I can see that. He looks just like Brad Garrett. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so when it
Also,
comes to
also known homosexual.
Brad Garrett, yes, very big time. Well, yeah, he owns the club, so you won't be working that club anytime soon. I'm not kidding. But the thing about
I got a motorbike going on outside my window here. Sorry.
I can't hear it.
Okay.
And the thing about the Rear Window cast is I think it beats it out because of like just star power, and it has that look to it. It's almost like they're glossy during the movie. Like they show Grace Kelly. It's almost like she has an aura around her during the whole movie because she's just like, it's like this angelic like love interest kind of thing of like, oh my God, like if I was of the time, which I'm not, I was born years later. That would have been my crush.
I thought you were 74 years old.
Yeah. That would have been my crush. My crush would have been Grace Kelly because of how like just above every like just in the clouds she seems. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A fun thing I was thinking of is these two movies are very referenced well after they came out in pop culture. Specifically, and I guess you could say this about so many movies, but I know I can picture The Simpsons spoofing both of these in my head. I don't even need to know that, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, the other
Rear Window
movies.
Probably a little bit more than 12 Angry Men.
And 12 Angry Men, like one thing we haven't mentioned yet, and they're both like this because whenever you have, that's what's so interesting about it because what happens is when you have movies like this, you're crossing over into the theater world. So it's almost like you're watching it. If I was I'm not a theater critic, but if I was and you're watching these movies, you're watching with a discern. That's why the acting has to be so good.
Yeah, 12 Angry Men is almost made for the stage. And Rear Window,
100%.
a little, you can do it, but I mean, 12 Angry Men, you just need the actors, you know?
I think they did it with Rear Window, correct? Broadway, I think they must have been,
I think
right?
so. They must have.
But 12 Angry Men, and I think they had a run of it years ago.
Recently, yeah.
And but then was it? Did they change it? Because they must have put women in the cast, right?
Yeah, they put the kids to death now. That was the big change.
You're like, wow, I really didn't see that coming. But he didn't convince anybody. They just had the Henry Fonda character walk in and go, "Come on, he didn't do it." Come on, guys. I don't know any of the evidence stuff, but he didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, you got tickets to the ball game. I need to get,
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, all right, you go ahead. We'll just vote now. It's a 3-minute
exactly
play.
What Jack Warden's character wanted to do.
It's a 3-minute play.
Yeah. There's no intermission or nothing?
Because let's be honest, you have most how much racism was going on back in the 50s. Usually they just walk in that room. That's why Henry Fonda, it's like the man in the white coat. You have that good guy. He's for justice. Because the other guys, like they walk in, they go, "What do you think? He did it. Let's go to the bar."
Yeah, it's just like 12 annoyed men. Maybe they don't seem all that angry.
Yeah, 12 put out white men. Well, but I think they do have productions of it now, or maybe I'm wrong about this, where they added women to the cast, right?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I just don't know, but I'm sure in the day and age we live in that you're right.
I think the reason why
12 angry people.
Well, also, I don't know. Was the rule juries were only men back in the 50s? Is that true?
That's a good question.
It must
call in if you know the answer to this.
I think it's a good question, but also because I think they would have put it would have been 12 angry jurors, and they would have put women
great question.
in the movie because by the in the 50s in Hollywood, I think the rule just was men could only be on juries, which I think is a thing.
I mean, we didn't give women the right to vote until 1920s, so it's not that out of the realm of possibility.
No, absolutely. But what happens is the reason, well, one of the reasons that I guess I'm fine with it is because I'm a guy and I don't think of it as much. And that is, but I'm just being honest. I just don't think of it as much. But it's noticeable when the thing's called 12 Angry Men and it's all male jury and you live in the time frame that we live in. But it's a period. But now at this point, period piece. So that I think where the forgivable side of it should be. And you just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, you just go, oh, this is a different time. Everything about it's a different time. The tone is different.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just a well-acted thing, and it has a good result at the end. It's
if you're watching movies from the 1950s or of a different generation or a different decade, and you're going, oh, yeah, but look at fuck off, all right? You've got to just suspend whatever your beliefs and your ethos is.
Yeah, the only
culture.
time.
Just go, it was different. You got to accept the fact that it was different.
Yeah, and the only time that I could see that I really go, yeesh, is when it's so it's things that are so racist from back in the day.
Yeah.
Just the blackface stuff or like the cartoons that were like, what were you guys thinking? That's when it's like, yeah, just get rid of those then. That's fine. But something like this, it's like, well, that was the sign of the times, and I don't think of it as like, oh my God, this can happen now. I know the updates that would be made. I already know that in my head. I'm living in the modern world. I'm not going to think like, that's the way it should be. All men on the juries. Like, nobody has an opinion. Nobody gives a shit who's on the jury. I think unless you're a jackass, do you care if nobody has that unpopular opinion anymore. All juries should be men. I don't trust the opinions of women.
I don't trust a woman's smaller brain.
Yeah. Are there people out there like that? Sure.
Absolutely.
Do they count at this point? No, they don't count.
I feel like cartoons got away with that blatant racism way longer than mainstream movies did.
Yeah, because they used animals as replacement.
Exactly. They used the animals.
And then it's like, yeah, man, no, you're not going to get away with this. I'm on board with that. I'm not going to be like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, it's a cartoon, relax. And it's like, no, sir. No, thank you.
But speaking of cartoons, though, and again, I'll reference The Simpsons, is that Rear Window, The Boy Who Knew Too Much, the Simpsons episode, when the Simpsons get a pool, Bart breaks his leg, and then the rest of the episode is essentially Rear Window.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing is. Yeah,
it's
you're
great.
Right. Yeah, it's just a recreation of Rear Window.
Yeah, at one point, they actually, Bart's looking through his telescope, and he actually sees a Jimmy Stewart character also looking back at him.
That's right. And he's like,
there's a sinister-looking boy across the way.
I'm surprised.
Millpool.
I'm surprised that Seinfeld never did because they did a JFK spoof. I'm surprised they never did a 12 Angry Men, and they never even a reference or a thing. Maybe I don't think they ever had
a little
one.
harder to do with live action. The Simpsons can get away with so much because they can just do even like an animated a frame that looks like a movie reference.
I will give you this, man.
They do it so often. I follow Simpsons movie references on Instagram. It's great, and you don't realize how many they do it until somebody takes the you go, oh, Jesus Christ, they did it. Oh, my God, it's so many.
I'll give you this. As we're talking about both movies, the acting and I think it's because of the whole character actor thing, and these guys are just straight up killers. The acting in 12 Angry Men I think it's better. I think it's definitely better.
Yeah, and again, you have a larger cast, but that could also doom a movie sometimes too when you're working with so many people. If not everybody's carrying their weight, that could, it's like the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody is pitch perfect in 12 Angry Men. Jimmy Stewart can sometimes be a little Jimmy Stewart-ish for me, which is why I always thought he was weird that Hitchcock used him so much.
Well, I think I don't even know. I would love to look up the reason why he used them so much.
Yeah, because still sometimes you can't, not that he's typecast, but sometimes you just can't get out of your head. It's just like, what a wonderful life, Jimmy Stewart, but it's in like these dark Hitchcock movies.
And also,
you know what I mean?
These relationships between these directors and these actors can get so temperamental. Because I just watched a video about, I love watching the videos about who was almost cast in what. I love
those. And
I think you definitely know this, I think. Michael Madsen was supposed to be Vince Vega in
yes,
in Pulp Fiction, and he had to turn it down because he was doing Wyatt Earp. And I didn't know this, but it took a few years for Tarantino to forgive Madsen, and that makes sense because that's why the next time he turns up is Kill Bill, I think. And I don't even know what. Oh, he wasn't in Jackie Brown. He wasn't in a couple things.
Wait,
what?
he was supposed to be who in Reservoir? He's
supposed to be. He's supposed to be John Travolta's part.
Oh, Pulp Fiction. I thought you meant. Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the same Vega. And then I guess he had the idea after he did Travolta. He casted Travolta. I guess he was like, "Oh, I'm going to do." I don't know if people know this, but you'll know this. They were going to do the Vega Brothers movie, but then they got too old.
Oh, that would have been great.
That would have been. Oh my God! That
also could have been horrible, but
it would have been. I don't know. In that universe, and probably he would have pulled from that universe and every other movie involved, like Reservoir Dogs, and they're all in the same universe.
Travolta, outside of Pulp Fiction, though, is kind of still hard to watch. You know what I mean? He's one of the same thing that falls in the Jimmy Stewart character. You're like, he's still got a little of that John Travolta grease on him at all times to me. Pulp Fiction is the only time I can put he's not John Travolta out of my head.
Yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to these actors and these directors, like and what they can get out of them, you watch 12 Angry Men, you can think about how tight of how heavy of a set that would have been.
Yeah.
And if you think of it this way, Rear Window, you could chalk up as like it's super suspenseful, but it's a fun like thriller type. It's a fun movie.
Yeah,
12 Angry Men is supposed to make, especially for back in the 50s, it was supposed to change people's minds. Let's be honest.
Right,
it was basically saying like, hey guys, don't be so racist. Hey guys, maybe we need to be better as people,
Well, we both agreed beforehand this wasn't going to be a traditional battle because we both love each of these movies so much. So we just wanted to do a quick Tuesday episode and talk about it a little bit, just because we're trying to theme it with the quarantine. You're stuck inside. Jimmy Stewart's the guy stuck inside. You're one room of the quarantine. A lot of people are living in one rooms throughout this whole thing. So that being said, if you are and you have access, please watch these movies if you haven't. These are two classic American films. I remember I saw 12 Angry Men for the first time. I was after college. I was in my first apartment in New York City, which was tiny. And I didn't have the mentality that I do now where I was like, I strive now to find older movies and I'll go looking for older movies now. I had that mentality when I was younger of, I don't want to watch anything from like the 50s. I know they're great, but it's just like not for me. You know what I mean? And 12 Angry Men was on like Turner Movie Classics, and I just caught it and was in the room long enough to watch 5 minutes of it, and then I was just hooked.
Yeah, because it's exceptional. It's exceptional, and it goes above the other movies from that genre. Because you're right. Because time frame matters. Like you can't make the connection if it's so not how you grew up or what you're used to. The way that they acted back in the day in those movies almost sounds like a different language. Do you know what I mean? Like, like it almost sounds like they all have these weird accents, like the old timey accent, which I think somebody one time explained the reason for it. I think it's this weird like acting thing from back in the day, but it does take you out of it if you're like a modern person. But 12 Angry Men doesn't have it.
Does not
which
do
is
that.
It stands out. It does not have that old timey like, but Mr. Carruthers, what are you gonna do? Like it doesn't have that like it's almost, to be honest, a lot of things it's overacting. It's a lot of it's overacting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's one of those things where with 12 Angry Men, even Rear Window has it more than 12 Angry Men does. But I think that's the way that they actually do speak. But these guys, it's pretty regular sounding. And I think that's why it holds the test of time as well. Yeah.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed just a little recap of two movies from the 1950s. What a year, 1954, Shawnee. I had a great time that year.
Absolutely. Oh, I was loving it. I drove a checkered cab. It was fantastic. But guys, remember, we have an Instagram and a Twitter for the podcast. It's at Defend Your Movie on both. Check those out. Follow us. We'll put up some stuff. We're all in quarantine. Let us know what your matchups are. Let us know if you like this. We'll do some more older movies because we usually don't do.
Yeah,
that's the farthest.
This is probably the oldest we've gone.
Yeah, definitely. But definitely check out those movies because they're great. You can check me out at Shawnee Time on Twitter and Instagram. And I have a show on Sirius that you can actually, and there's both of us. We both have shows on Sirius that you can listen to for free right now. They're doing free streaming. And I'll post the link on my Twitter and go check it out and sign up for Sirius because there's so much amazing stuff on it. Besides me and Andy shows, they have this guy, I forget his, Howard Stern. And he's not
going to be around much longer.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but Andy, what else do you want to say?
Yeah, you can follow me at Andy Fiori. It's ANDYFIORI on Twitter and Instagram. And like Shawnee said, our shows are back to back. Shawnee's show's on Wednesday at 4. My show's on Thursday at 4. They're both unique and fun, and we really appreciate SiriusXM doing so much new programming during the downtime because we've had guests and they're doing their best to book us with new people. So we've got fresh shows for you every week. But yes.
No, sorry. I was going to say this. How about during the quarantine, if you listen to the podcast and you're having fun, send us a virtual potato on Twitter.
Yes.
I don't even know if there's an emoji. Whatever the closest emoji to a potato is, put that on Twitter.
Or if you're making a quarantine meal one night and you got meats and potatoes, just take a pic and send that one to us.
And send it to us. Let us know you listen to the podcast. Let us know what you want to hear, and we hope you're having fun listening.
Absolutely. And as promised, this is the bonus episode, and we will have another episode this week out on Friday. We have a fun repeat guest coming back. I won't give it away now, but a cool topic, too. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. And you guys definitely check it out and definitely take a listen. And we love you, and you're the Defenders.
We love you, Defenders.
And tell your friends and review, rate, review, and subscribe for the show because we need it. We need to build up the numbers on the show. We're trying to give as much as possible, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Stay safe, everybody. Wash your hands. We'll talk to you later on this week.
Yay!
Bye-bye.